Welcome to the Basics of Java Tutorial 80. In this tutorial, we will be discussing about file handling in Java. The topics that are to be covered in this tutorial are files, creating files, writing files, and reading files. Coming to the file section, the file and one buffer writer. We have file writer which extends input stream writer. Let's discuss an example for writing a file. As you see in the example, we have a class file writing demo. Inside the class block, we have method write file which takes argument as string file name. Inside the method block, we are creating an object of class file and the argument being supplied is, that is, the argument supplied to the constructor is string. Using file, keyword new, file followed by file name argument, it creates a new object with file name passed as an argument. In the following statement, we have try-catch block. The following line is in try-catch block so as to handle the IO exception thrown by the constructor and write method. We've got file writer object in the following statement. After creating an object of class file writer, we are writing a string on the file. The string being supplied is hello Java /n Java is good, which writes a string on the file. In the following statement, we are making use of the methods flush and close. Using flush, as we have already discussed, the data that is written on the memory is pushed by the flush method to the file. And finally we have file writer.close. This method closes the file. When an exception is thrown, this exception is caught and it's handled by catch block. In this section, we will discuss the reading of files using file reader. We have a class file reader which is used to read a file character by character. File reader class is inherited from java.io.inputStreamReader, which is further inherited from the class java.io.reader. We have the following constructors for file reader. The first flavor takes arguments as string and the second flavor takes file as an argument. For a class file reader, we do not have its own method to read a file. However, it makes use of the methods that are defined in the parent classes to read a file. We have the following methods. The first one is close. Using this method, we close the stream opened for reading. We have got second method, that is read. It has got two flavors. The first flavor doesn't take anything as argument. It just reads a file character by character. The second flavor that we have takes three arguments. The first argument is it takes a chunk of data, that is some amount of data passed as length argument from offset argument and writes the same on the cbuf array, that is the input buffer that is passed. We have two integers, offset and length. Depending on offset and length, the chunk of data that is supplied is read by this second flavor read method. In this section of the tutorial, we will be discussing about buffered reader. The buffered reader class is used to read the file more effectively as compared to file reader. It stores a large chunk of data into the buffer and reads the data from it. It adds functionality to read a line which is not available in file reader. Internally, buffer reader class wraps the class file reader. We have the following constructors in buffer reader class. The first flavor of buffer reader takes two arguments. The first one is reader and the second one is an integer. The second flavor of the constructor buffer reader is as follows. It takes an argument as reader. The class buffer reader extends class java.io.reader. We have the following methods available in class buffer reader. The first method shown here is close. The method closes a stream opened for reading. Coming to the second method, that is read. Using this method read, we can read a file character by character. We also have method read with a different flavor. The second flavor of the method read takes character string as an argument, including two integers. Using this method read, we can read a chunk of data. The data that is read depends upon the offset being supplied and the length of the argument that is being supplied to the read method. The final method that we have is read line. This is an additional method which we had discussed earlier. It reads a line. The class hierarchy for reading a file is as follows. The topmost class is object class, as we already know. We have reader, which extends class object. We have got two classes, input stream reader and buffer reader. These two extend the class reader. We also have a file reader class which extends input stream reader. Let's discuss an example for reading a file. As you can see, we have a class file reading demo. Inside the class, we have a method read file. If you closely look at the first statement of the method read file, we are creating an object with file name being passed as an argument. In the following section of the code, we can see the code has been written in try and catch blocks. If an exception is thrown in the try block, it gets caught and the statements of catch block will be executed. That is, the exception is caught and the exception is handled in the catch block. Coming to the try block, at the first statement, we are creating an object of class file reader and the input argument is supplied as file. The file has been supplied as an input argument for the fReader. That is, we are reading a file. In the following statement, we are creating an object of class bufferReader, to which FileReader acts as an argument. In the following line, we have a string variable which has been set to null. In the next statement, we have while loop, which is an infinite while loop. That is, the condition is true always. Coming to the code of the while loop, we have string str equality operator br.readLine, that is bufferReader.readLine. By making use of readLine method, one line of bufferReader is read, and the result of which is stored in string variable. In the next statement, we are checking whether the string is null. That is, null is compared to the line read by the method readLine. This happens only when the entire file is read. That is, if the entire file is read, this readLine will finally return null. Only in one case this condition gets satisfied and it comes out of the loop, since we have a break statement in the following line. After this while loop, we have fReader.close, that is, we are closing a file. If any exception occurs in the try block, it would be caught and it's handled in the catch block. In this tutorial, we have learned that the files are persistent data storage medium which remain even the program is finished or application is closed. A file is used to create files and directories. We have discussed FileReader and class bufferReader, which are used to perform various read operations on files. We have also discussed how to perform write operations using classes FileWriter and bufferWriter. You can create your own hands-on to create a Java class having methods to create, read, and write files. Also, you need to create a file and write few lines onto this file. Use a method for reading the file to write the content of the file on the console. In the next tutorial, we will be discussing multi-threading in Java. Thank you one and all.